Work is slavery, and people are being called lazy because people don't want to be slaves anymore. I'm not going to tolerate that. And I'm going to speak for myself and for many others for what I'm about to say. Play the intro. Straight to the point. Working is boring. I'll say what many, if not most people, are thinking in their heads and want to express, but are worried about the outcome of expressing that. I'll say it. I'll say it again. Work is boring. Work is fucking boring. This is what we would do most of our lives. We were brought into existence to work and sleep most of our lives, and then we die. But you know what? Why is it that if someone expresses that work is boring, if someone expresses that work is time consuming, that it's just something that one doesn't want to do. For example, if I express or anyone expresses that work is boring, why is that a bad thing? Why is that looked down upon? It makes no sense. Why is it that if someone says that work is boring and they despise work, why is that looked down upon? Where is the logic? And this is why I'm a misanthrope. This is exactly why I'm a misanthrope, because humans are stupid and dumb. Humans are dumb and stupid who don't think before they speak. Someone was brought into this world, never asked to be born, and now they have to work and sleep most of their lives. And in other words, they have to do something that they have no interest in doing out of necessity in order to survive. And if someone expresses that they dislike that, that they have no interest in any of that, no interest in working, being disinterested in work, then all of a sudden people will call those who think like me, or anyone else who says that work is boring, lazy. That makes no sense. That is stupid. Humans are dumb, stupid people who don't know the difference between laziness versus being disinterested in something. People don't know the difference between laziness versus finding something to be so boring that you have no interest in doing that thing. Yet, when it comes to work, right, why do people do it? Like myself, for example, why do I work? Despite how I feel about work, despite how I'm anti-work and whatnot, I work because of the money. I work out of necessity. I was brought into this world, and now I work and sleep most of my life. I work out of necessity. That is the reason why I work, because I get paid for it in order to pay for essentials like paying for rent, paying for food, paying for clothes, etc. All in the name of survival. That is the reason I work. But I don't work because I like working or enjoying working. I hate working. It doesn't matter what job I'm doing because it's still work. I hate it. It's boring. It's very, 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 very fucking boring. I have no interest in it whatsoever. In my mind, whenever I'm at work, I'm feeling like, hey, I don't want to be here. I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for many, if not most people who also despise work, but are worried about expressing how they truly feel about work. Whenever I'm at work, in my mind, what's going through my mind is, I do not want to be here. I want to leave. I'm looking at the clock sometimes. People do that. They look at the clock because they're just thinking, yo, tick faster so I can go home. You know? But yeah, I'm just calling a spade a spade. Work is extremely boring. Work is boring as it is disinteresting. It's not interesting. It's very uninteresting. But we have to do it because if we don't, we'll be homeless and we won't be able to eat. Because in order to eat, you need money in order to buy food. Life is a catch-22. Many, if not most people, don't have the desire to work. But we do it out of necessity. I have no interest in working. I only do it for the money. If I won the lottery right now, I would never work again. And I'm sure many, if not most people, would feel the same way. You lot watching right now, if you won the lottery right now, you would never work again. And if you claim otherwise, then you're in the minority. With all that being said about how work is boring and whatnot, I find it interesting how we live in a world of NPCs who will shame those or look down upon those who express this view of work. So if someone says work is boring or I hate working, you'll be seen as lazy for it. How does that make any sense, people? How does that make any sense? Where is the logic in criticizing someone or looking down upon someone because they are expressing how they truly feel about work? How does it make sense? Where is the logic in criticizing someone or shaming someone because they're doing something that they have no interest in and they are expressing their displeasure, their disdain over that thing that they don't want to do? Where is the logic? Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. No one asked to be born, yet we were brought into this world to do something that we have no interest in for the rest of our lives out of survival, not because of enjoyment, not because of desire, but because of survival, because of necessity, in order to provide ourselves with the essentials, such as, again, paying for rent, paying for food, paying for clothes, etc. We are slaves, people. Wake up. Wake up. We are slaves. People don't like working because many, if not most people, think that work is slavery. That's what it is. Working is slavery. Work is a scam because you're selling your time for money. Work is slavery. It doesn't matter what job you're doing, you don't get to dictate your hours. You don't get to dictate the time and place of your work. You don't get to dictate when to show up to work. You don't get to dictate where to show up to work. The reason people don't like work is because work gets in the way of the things that people want to do in their spare time. It gets in the way of people wanting to do their hobbies. So people want to do their hobbies, but because of work, people have to put their hobbies aside for slavery, also known as work. Because yes, work is slavery. The sooner people realize that, the better. So many people don't want to accept this, but it's the reality. Work is slavery and work is boring. What is so fun about work? What is the number one reason people work? Money. So let's cut this BS. Let's stop negatively judging people because they think work is boring. It is boring. And there's nothing wrong with expressing that view. Why is there negative judgment on those who express the view that work is boring? It makes no sense. People, stop being stupid. Work is time consuming. People don't like work because it's time consuming. When you work long hours. You work long hours and you get peanuts. It's all exploitation. Who likes that? Who enjoys that? Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake the fuck up. Stop being assholes. Stop judging. Stop negatively judging people. Stop putting people down because they say that, oh, I hate work. They have every right to hate work. There's nothing wrong with that. They are justified. Work is boring, insufferable, time consuming. Yeah, that's right. It's time consuming. People have to work long hours. People have to work long hours. Who wants to work long hours? It consumes a lot of your time, and you have to sleep as well for, roughly 8 hours. Working for 8 hours, sleeping for 8 hours, that is a lot of time. You're going to hear the term boring a lot, but it's because I'm trying to drill this in people's heads. And I'm doing a live stream. Think about that. Boredom, like I said in a previous video, boredom is a form of suffering. And unfortunately, in the stupid society that we live in, people don't take boredom seriously. That is something to be taken seriously. Doing something that you don't enjoy doing and then expressing your view of how you truly feel about that thing you're doing, saying, I don't like this because it's boring, there's nothing wrong with that. Work is a prime example. Work is boring, and many, if not most people, myself included, don't want to do it. but we have to. Boredom equals suffering. Boredom equals suffering. But unfortunately, if you express that you're bored, people don't take you seriously. People won't take you seriously. People, people, is boredom a joke to you? Boredom is no joke, people. Boredom is a form of suffering. It is not a joke. All right? Boredom can actually lead to depression, you jokers. It is no joke. How can you judge? How can you negatively judge someone for expressing that work is boring? Or you want them to pretend that work is fun? People. Why are you defending slavery? Stop defending slavery. Why are you defending and enabling slavery and exploitation? Why are you defending a system that doesn't give a fuck about you? Stop defending a system that controls people and exploits people and steals their time away. Time is so valuable. Time is more valuable than money. Time is something you'll never get back. You people are sick, psychopathic, bootlicking assholes for shaming people and belittling people and calling them lazy because they don't want to slave their lives away, because they don't want to do something that they find boring and insufferable, because they don't want to do something that they don't want to do and for the rest of their lives. And you got a bunch of idiots who will say work is not supposed to be fun. I'll say that again. You got a bunch of idiots. You got a bunch of narcissistic NPC motherfucking idiots who will say that work is not supposed to be fun. And then I think, hang on, if work is not supposed to be fun, why would you bring someone into this world just to work most of their lives if it's not supposed to be fun? So you brought someone into this world just to do something that they're going to find boring for the majority of their lives, for the rest of their lives, all in the name of survival, and then die. People are so stupid, man, throwing terms out like lazy. Yeah, man, people throw that shit out. I've seen people call others lazy because they don't want to work. That makes no fucking sense. I understand why people don't want to work. It's because people don't want to slave their lives away. People want to do certain shit, but work is getting in the way of that. That's why people don't like work. What is so hard to understand about that? I'm telling you, see, on my channel, I tell the raw truth. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. This is the 100% raw truth. I can't believe that people see work for what it truly is, right? Which is slavery, and people will still continue to bring children into this world so that they can grow up to be slaves. Because that's life? Get out of here. Come on, people. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Seriously, wake the fuck up, people. Stop making your future offspring suffer. Be real, have a realistic assessment of the way life is, the way the world is, the way nature is. Have a realistic assessment. Don't be delusional, all right? Have a realistic assessment about the way things are in this world and ask yourself, is it worth bringing a child into this world just so that they can become slaves? Because that's what we are. We are all slaves. I break it down into two categories. You got your slaves and your slave owners. Guess what? They are both subcategories of slaves, because you see, slave owners that own slaves, they need those slaves. They need each other. The slaves need the slave owners, but the slave owners need the slaves. Yeah, because without the slaves, then the slave owners are fucked. Do you understand what I'm saying? If the slaves are freed, then the slave owners are fucked. That is why I say everyone is a slave in every way, especially when it comes to work. If I was an owner, right, I would need slaves to run the business. But without them, I'm screwed, innit? I won't be making money. So this is why I say slaves come in two subcategories: slaves and slave owners. Yes, even slave owners are slaves. They're all slaves. No one wants to be a slave. So when I so it really, I find it funny I find it funny and stupid when people say nobody wants to work, as if that's a bad thing. Of course, nobody wants to work. It's not a want. Who desires to work? Not me. I don't desire to work because, again, for many reasons. For one, working is boring and uninteresting. I have no interest in work, but I do it out of necessity because if I don't work, I'll be homeless and I won't be able to provide myself with food or clothing or shelter. That is the reason. I'm keeping it real. I'm calling a spade a spade. But unfortunately, people are still going to bring children into it, just to perpetuate this vicious cycle. Like, hey, I experienced this, so you're going to experience it. Delusional people who think they're doing their children a favor by bringing them into this world because, oh, we gave you life. What? There was no need. But you brought them into this world. Just call a spade a spade. You brought children into this world because you wanted to fulfill yourselves. You wanted to fill a void. You wanted to give your own life meaning by having children. Call a spade a spade. You're not doing your children a favor by having them. You're doing yourselves a favor. But anyway, no one wants to wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning just to go to some place that they don't want to be at. But again, humans, NPCs are so stupid and or brainwashed that they will think that that is a bad thing, that is wrong. What? You hate working? That's wrong. What? No, it's not wrong. Working is problematic. Working actually takes a toll on many people, especially when they get older. It takes a toll. People become burned out and all that. There's so much negativity about work. So many bad things about working. And that's why people don't like work. People, anyone who calls you lazy for finding something to be boring and uninteresting and that you don't want to do that thing, they are idiots. That is stupid. Imagine you're at a family gathering and you don't want to be there, but you're forced to be there. And then you say, I don't want to be there. Does that make you lazy? Well, in fact, this is why I say people are stupid because a lot of people throw the term lazy around and it has nothing to do with the situation. There is no connection. Being uninterested in doing something has nothing to do with laziness. It literally has everything to do with being uninterested. Imagine if I force someone, let's say I love video games or football or working out and someone else doesn't. Does that mean that they're lazy? No, they're just not interested. Or let's say if I love playing chess, but someone else doesn't love playing chess. So should I call them lazy because they don't want to play chess? No, that's stupid. They don't want to play chess because they're not interested in it, because they would find it boring or they're just simply not interested in it. There is a difference between laziness versus disinterest. Antinatalism is bulletproof, man. Antinatalism will end suffering for human beings. It will. If working is such a good thing, if it's a good thing, then why is there such thing as the lottery? I'll tell you why. The reason why there's such thing as the lottery is because, well, actually, one could say, one could say, I just realized one could say it's a scam because, people pay and they end up not winning. Like, there's a very low chance of winning the lottery. But here's the thing. If work was truly good, then there would be no such thing as the lottery. Because the lottery gives people the financial freedom. Like, for example, let's say if the lottery was £50 billion and someone won the lottery of £50 billion, 50, by the way, they would never have to work again because they have so much money. It's so enough. If working was so good, if working was such a good thing, we wouldn't encourage lottery. We wouldn't encourage things like the lottery. Because then if someone won the lottery, then they would never work again because they're rich to the bone. It's just an expression, to the bone. Anyway, the bottom line is this: work is boring. I hate working. People don't like work because work is not only boring, but working gets in the way of things that people want to do in their spare time. The fact that we even have to say spare time because we have to work as well. So spare time meaning like anything outside of work. If it wasn't for work, we wouldn't even have to say spare time. But anyway, If you get it, you get it. People who shame those for hating work are a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of narcissistic, NPC, psychopathic idiots who don't think before they speak, and they're just brainwashed. They're just major NPCs. Absolute bootlickers who think that it's wrong because people hate working and only do it out of necessity. Oh, how dare you not find work to be fun? How dare you find work to be boring? We work such long hours, and that consumes a lot of our daytime. Even and your or night times, or if you work at night. It People, when I say long, I mean 8 hours is long, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are people working 16 hours. That is insane, man. That is insane. So stop being stupid. It makes no sense to make fun of people or look down on people, or shame or belittling people for not liking work, for not wanting to work. There's a difference between having to work versus wanting to. And many, if not most people, don't want to. And that's fine. And they shouldn't be ridiculed for that. No one asked to be born, period. You could be doing something, you could be doing a hobby as a job, and it can end up feeling like a chore because you don't get to dictate when to show up and where to show up. If you want to be like, oh, you know what? I want to go to the beach tomorrow. You can't because you got work tomorrow. And you got to show up at 5 a.m. in the morning or something.
In other words, you don't get to show up to work on your own terms.
Yeah, that's right. You have to prioritize your work. You have to put aside the things that you truly want to do. You have to sacrifice the things that you truly want to do just so you can be a slave, just to slave. From now on, I'm referring to work as slavery. Working is slaving. People, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed for expressing your disdain for work. Don't be ashamed for saying that work is boring. Don't be ashamed for saying that work is insufferable. Don't be ashamed for saying that work is time consuming. Don't be ashamed for expressing your displeasure or your dislike or your hate for work. All right? Don't be ashamed. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed of because it's understandable. It is boring. It is all those things. It's the truth. And ignore other people who try to ridicule you or try to put you down or look down upon you for expressing your hatred towards working. All right? Those people are NPCs. They are dumb. They are sheeple. All right? Anyway, that's all I have to say. Take care. Peace.